this content is for kids.
It's not for kids.
Isn't that what I said?
No, it's not for kids. If you are 13 years or younger, this is not for you. Do I have to kill somebody in order to actually make that point across?
No, man, you don't have to kill no one.
Wait a second.
No.
When we return to our planet, the High Court may well sentence you to torture.
He likes movies, we like movies. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. I'd buy that for $1.
Greetings! You're watching SeptumSin versus the world. I'm SeptumSin, this is Kotobuki Jake, and we're here to show you what they got.
Indeed.
Castlevania, Simon Belmont, get your crucifix, holy water. Transylvania, ain't not moonlight to the castle of Dracula. Watch me whip, and 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 watch me whip. Warrior in search of skeleton keys in the candlelight by my vampire killer. Ah! Whip and watch me 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 whip. And watch me whip, and watch me whip, and watch me whip, and watch me whip, and watch me whip. Pennsylvania, Simon Belmont, get your crucifix, holy water. Transylvania, in the moonlight, to the castle of Dracula. Got a problem, it's times two. You love just one, I love two. My heart's a ball, rolling down the alley, but I can't stop loving the both of you. I can't help it, one won't do. Geometry, 'cause both lines point to me. Oh Sally, oh Sue, imagine the things we could do. Oh Sally, oh Sue, could it be just the three of us? Could it be just the three of us? You want me to pick, you need me to choose, but for me, that just won't do. I got a solution, kind of a compromise. I'll split my heart directly in two. How about we just sleep on it, the three of us? How about we just sleep on it, just the three of us? How about we just sleep on it, just the three three of us, oh yeah. Oh Sally, oh Sue, imagine the things we could do. Oh Sally, oh Sue, could it be just the three of us? Oh Sally, oh Sue, imagine the things we could do. Oh Sally, oh Sue, could it be just the three of us? Could it be just the three of us? Be just the three of us.
So, you know, well, as together as a COVID situation can get.
Right.
So with the C virus being nasty outside, we'll do what we can.
Indeed.
So we're going to go back to this rating system again.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to start at the top, you know, with priority, which, you know, is, again, if both of us agree with priority, which is we got to get it as soon as humanly possible. I think that excuses can be made for I'm broke right now, but not a. But I don't.
For you?
But I don't think it's a priority if you can say I can wait a year for that. Even if I have the money in my account right now, I can wait. Because that means that you're willing to let it potentially go out of print. Which, sadly, is happening a lot more with newer titles these days, I've noticed. Sad days, sad days.
Sad.
Yes, please. Which is, well, it's on that wish list. We want it. We are willing to wait a year for the price to drop.
Mm-hmm.
But we want it. It's on our list. It's always on our list.
It will be mine. Yes,
oh, yes. Unlike priority, we can both disagree, and it would be the rounding down of the two. So, like, if Jake put this as a priority, let's say Jake picked, let's see, Beyond the Door as his priority. And I picked a Yes, Please. It'd go to Yes, Please. Or if I picked a Curious, it would go to Yes, Please. So, just to give an example. Curious, that's in the middle. You look at that and you say, that might be something I'm going to get. That might be something I'd like to get. I'm not necessarily going to wish list it, but if I see it at a nice price, I might get that. There are a couple of those on there. Then, meh. You kind of like, if it was given to me, I'd do it. If I got it at the Dollar Tree, because Dollar Tree takes Curious and boosts it a little bit further. Because sometimes at the Dollar Tree, you're willing to get a couple of things that you would never buy otherwise. Because, hey, it might be good. And then finally, there's Hell No. Again, we both have to agree on this one, which is we'll never own it. We never want it. If it's free, we throw it out or give it away or sell it. It's just how it is.
Hell no.
So, we've got 30 each. You've got 31. I got 30 on the count.
Okay.
So I'll let you go first.
All right. So let's head off with a documentary. There's a few of those this week.
All right.
This is a documentary called Aggie. According to IMDb, an exploration of the nexus of art, race, and justice through the story of art collector Agnes Gund, who sold Roy Lichtenstein's painting Masterpiece, somewhat pretentious name for one's painting, in 2017 for $165 million to start the Art for Justice Fund to end mass incarceration. So obviously that one little editorial comment aside, this is directed by Catherine Gund, who I'm going to wager is probably a relation.
Yeah. Probably.
That sounds like a pretty intriguing premise.
It does.
Was it?
It does. I think we all need a few. I really do think we all need a few more documentaries in our lives. You know.
We do, and I will have to admit, especially like right now, with the discourse that's going on in this nation right now, one thing that is, I think, glaringly obvious to those who care to look is that the prisons are very, 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 very full of people, but not evenly so, if that makes sense. And this is clearly a step. This fund was apparently set up to help mitigate that somewhat. I am amused that this person had the temerity to call their painting masterpiece. That's very interesting. And well, I would have loved it if masterpiece only sold for like $20. That would have been, 165 million. That's a hell of a lot to pay for a painting. But I'm intrigued. I like me a good documentary, and this looks like it has that potential. Also, looks like he could end up being Oscar bait. I could be wrong, but it looks like it could
possible.
Be. Yeah.
So where would you put it on the ratings board?
As of right now, having no more information than that, I can only go curious. Mm-hmm. If it gets an Oscar nod, it will go up to yes, please. But for now, curious.
I'm in total agreement. Mm-hmm. I got really nothing else to say. It's actually not a bad price on it right now. It's definitely worth watching, and definitely if it gets the Oscar nomination, it's going to. It might even get up to priority status to me because it's really, it's one I wouldn't even get right away, especially at that price point. It's hard to say no to that.
What's it priced at?
$14.99.
That's not bad.
It's not a bad starting price point, but it's only on DVD here, so.
That's a shame.
All right, so our next one up is 2067. I do not know much about this. I did not have time to look up some of these because I got hit by a lot of stuff.
I honestly didn't really look this one up myself, but.
Well, I mean, it is what it is. So let's go on Blu-ray.com. It's at a huge price point here, $12.99 for Blu-ray.
Ooh.
Giant, there. So let's see here. I know they usually have like a one man's journey to the future to save a dying world. Huge blurb on that one. But you know what? That's all right. So I look at this and I think to myself, this looks like a typical sci-fi. It almost looks like a sci-fi channel type. But it doesn't look terrible. It's a little curious for me because I'm not sure. I'm not even looking at the $12.99 price tag and going, ooh, no. It's more like, it's almost a high meh. What would you say on that?
I'm a little bit unsure about that, honestly, because it's one that I'm a little bit unsure on that one, where I would put it. The cast intrigues me. The idea of the dude that plays Nightcrawler and the dude that plays the idiot brother in True Blood co-starring in a movie. But I'm going to have to go meh without more info.
Like I said, I'm about a high meh on that.
Yeah.
All right, your go.
All right. So my next one up is a Warner Brothers Archive Collection movie 4-pack. And this is an Alfred Hitchcock 4-pack with The Wrong Man with Henry Fonda and Vera Miles. Dial M for Murder, classic one there. I Confess with Montgomery Clift and Ann Baxter. I couldn't read Dial M for Murder. Anyway. And Suspicion with Cary Grant and Joan Fontaine. I've seen Dial M for Murder, and again, I know that's considered a classic.
A lot of these are
and these
older
are,
ones. These
are some. Well, these are definitely some of his Hollywood pictures. You can tell from the cast, but they're not. Except for Dial M for Murder, they're not really ones that are usually considered to be among the best of the best for Hitchcock. But even so, any fan of Hitchcock's got to love a set like this. And especially if they do a good job with the Blu-ray transfers, then it'd probably be worth picking up if you don't have the movies. I think Dial M for Murder has a Criterion edition, if I'm not mistaken. So I'd end up with a duplicate of that one eventually if I got the set. But it might be worth getting. I'm going to go. I would probably go Yes Please on this just as a space saver.
I am still debating it because I have an Alfred Hitchcock set with most of those on it.
Okay.
It's just...
I don't.
I don't know. I mean, it would be good to... Warner Archive, I really do like Warner Brothers in one aspect. They've done some crap moves in their development, but they do really want to preserve on physical media, and they do a lot of burn-on-demand work. They do some pretty decent stuff, so I gotta give them that. And I would definitely have this on my wish list, so yeah, I could go with a Yes Please on that as well.
All right.
All right, so next up on my list...
On your list
is Beeswax.
This one intrigued me somewhat.
There's Beeswax. It's a marvelous new film from Andrew Bujalski. Funny ha-ha, mutual appreciation. One of the brightest stars in indie film, Beeswax revolves around a personal and professional entanglement of twin sisters, Janine and Lauren, played by the extraordinary newcomers Tilly and Maggie Hatcher. Living in Austin, Texas, Jeannie co-owns a vintage clothing store with Amanda, a semi-estranged friend who she fears is trying to end their partnership. Lauren leads a looser, less tethered existence and is considering getting out of the country altogether. We've all thought that at one point or another. When Jeannie receives an email from Amanda threatening a lawsuit, she calls her law student ex-boyfriend Merrill for help. Eager for the distraction from his own problems, he begins helping his sisters with theirs. Imbued with an innate charm, Beeswax is a story about family, friends, and lovers, those awkward moments that bring us all together. This is one I thought you were going to grab for, like, right away, and then after a while, it's like, oh, crap, he's got 31. No, I better take this one.
I did consider this one, but I didn't want to overload on stuff that I was somewhat curious about.
This one I definitely wouldn't go for at that price point. $22.99. Whew, that's, though it's cheaper than the list price of $34.95.
Right.
So yeah, I'm not sure I'd go for it at that price point right away. It'd be a little curious for me. What are your thoughts?
Well, again, it caught my attention a little bit, but honestly, one of the things that caught my attention the most, and this may have been where I heard about the film, David Zellner and Nathan Zellner are in the cast. And Nathan Zellner acted in, and David Zellner co-directed with his brother. I think the two of them are brothers. I'm not sure. And there's another brother involved. What is his name? I'm still trying to remember them.
Grimm.
But what's that?
The Brothers Grimm.
Yeah, well, so Nathan. No, okay. So Nathan. Okay, there we go. They co-wrote it. There you go. So Nathan and David Zellner co-wrote and David directed a film that I have spoken of many a time since no one else seems to. Rinko Kikuchi starring Kumiko the Treasure Hunter.
One day we'll discuss it. One day we'll discuss it on Inside Movies Galore.
One day we will. In fact, I can almost guarantee that. Hint, hint. But I am intrigued to see them acting in another film that they are not behind the camera. And yeah, the movie has a decent IMDb rating, but I feel like I've heard it spoken of decently by other critics and whatnot. So, yeah, I'm curious. It's definitely a high curious. I will say that.
All right. From low and high curious, we can get a curious right in the middle.
How curious.
All right. What you got for us?
Next up, we have Funimation is releasing a complete collection of their series, The Ancient Magus Bride, which, again, we have spoken about on this channel. I have already picked up the series. I really want to watch it. It has gotten tremendous buzz the last couple years.
Beautiful print. You got that beautiful set, too.
Oh, I got that gorgeous set, and my cat dented it. But it's still, if you did not spring for the Split collection, this will be a very nice space-saving way of doing it. Not necessarily a nice budget-saving price, but that's Funimation for you.
The sale season's
again,
coming.
from what I've heard, this is the rare series that's worth the price, supposedly. So...
I got it on the last sale when it was in two parts. Just didn't get the series at your area because I didn't get that
by the name and rules of the game. I suppose I cannot call this a priority because I did not pre-order it, but I could definitely call it a high yes, please.
Yeah, it's not one that if I hadn't caught it on sale, I probably wouldn't have bought it necessarily. So I would definitely go with a yes, please myself.
Okay.
It's one of the. It's weird because neither one of us has seen it yet, but it's just something.
Also weird because this is a really, really weak anime week.
It is, but we do have a couple.
Yeah.
So speaking of anime, let's talk about one that's not.
Yeah, what a segue.
So let's talk about Checkmate. There's this thing right here. Blow that up. You got James Quinn and David Whalen. With a couple of other ones up here. Not many that I know a lot of, but again, it's not a huge thing here. No news-related posts, no synopsis for it, so I guess I'll have to go on to IMDb for that. So let's see, Checkmate. There we are. A notorious serial killer is hired to kidnap the daughter of Pittsburgh's chief of police when he takes up the charge against human trafficking in his city. That sounds awesome in its own right. Now, I don't know. It sounds like one of those titles I might get at the Dollar Tree. Eventually. It's definitely not on my high list. But I'd say a high meh, maybe a low curious. What would you say?
Yeah. I'm going to go with a high meh. Yeah. Okay, now this is really weird. Okay, so the movie originated in the U.S. and was originally called Bystander, but in the U.S., the U.K., and Australia, it's called Checkmate, and everywhere else it's called Bystander. As, you know, they had to translate it.
And not for something English. Completely different.
Yes, exactly. So, in my turn, yes?
Yes.
So, next up we have Bad Men from a Melting Moon. I like that title. That is a fun title. And it's IMDb's description. A man believes he has been hit by a train. That's it.
Okay.
That's straightforward. I know nothing about this except that it has a cool title, and that the writer-director has the tremendous misfortune of having a name that could be easily pronounced orifice. And I don't think that's how he pronounces it, but yeah. I don't have a lot to go on here. I really don't, but I'm going to say based on the name, I'm curious.
Yeah, I'm a little curious about it. If anything, the description just made that even more so. I was like, so how does he deal with that being hit?
Right?
How do you deal with getting hit by the train? It kind of like, makes us want to know more about him, I guess.
Right.
All right, so here's one I am familiar with that I've actually watched.
Okay.
And I'm just going to type it in there, which is The Croods is getting a 4K release. And the reason for that is that they're getting a sequel to this movie coming out, I think, this year or early next year. And
I know it's coming soon.
So, The Croods was kind of here and gone, which is kind of weird for a DreamWorks film. I don't remember
it got an Oscar nod.
It did get an Oscar nod, and I did watch it. Did you watch it with me? I can't remember.
Oh, yeah, I did. I actually have it.
It was a beautiful film, so 4K is not bad. Matter of fact, I have to say, for DreamWorks does an okay job, but they're not quite Pixar level.
Right.
And I thought some of the backdrops were gorgeous on this film.
Right.
I mean, it's a simple.
And DreamWorks they're not Pixar level, but they're still pretty damn good.
They're good. I mean, and the animation was really good in this. So 4K is not a bad thing for this necessarily.
No.
And it's about this group of cavemen essentially, and some of them are basically, I think the main family is Neanderthals, and they run into this guy who's like a Homo sapien, and they have their adventure. It's been a long time since I've watched this, but it was entertaining. It was kind of forgettable in some ways, but it really was a beautiful movie to look at. So, I mean, a lot of the backgrounds, especially. There's a scene where they had like fireflies or something glowing in the distance, and it was just amazing to watch on the big screen. So, things to look at and to think about.
Right.
So, with that one, I don't know if I even have it yet. I do want it. It's on my wish list, so it's a yes, please for me. But what would you say?
Well, I mean, I do have it. And the fact that it's an Oscar nominee pretty much guaranteed that it was a yes, please. I do have to admit it was one I had very, very little interest in until it got the Oscar nod. Yeah. And I'm glad it did, because it forced me to watch it, and it is a really good movie. It just did not look like one I would want to see.
Sort of like
and
Missing
that's true
Link
of a lot of
that was it Missing Link? What was it like? I mean, was it the like?
Oh, Missing Link was like that, yeah.
It's like that one, definitely. Because I didn't want to see that one either necessarily until I realized, wait, this is who it's by, and it's got an Oscar nod. I guess I should check it out.
Right. So it's it is one that I would say definitely yes, please.
All
and if you haven't seen it, I would recommend watching it.
So what's next on our
The next one up is The Broken Hearts Gallery, which is written and directed by Natalie Krinsky, and it's sort of a pseudo rom-com sort of deal. Might be more of just a dramedy that has romantic elements. I'm not 100% sure. But basically, the IMDb description, after a breakup, a young woman decides to start a gallery where people can leave trinkets from past relationships. And it stars Geraldine Viswanathan, who is a very cute young lady, definitely. And we've got some other people. I know Bernadette Peters by name. Most of these people I'm not that familiar with. It looks relatively interesting. I don't have a burning desire to see it, but I'm curious.
That's what I was gonna say. Is it $22.99 interesting?
Oh, hell no. I'd probably pay $6 or $7 sight unseen, and if I do see it, I might pay more, but not 22.
Yeah, I could go curious on it. Yeah. I definitely want to, know a little bit more before I start jumping into it.
Right.
They're doing a My Bloody Valentine Deluxe
I see
edition
that.
with a figure. That's all right. I'm still waiting a month or more for my last Shop Factory order. I'm not ordering that until I know.
I'm wondering too. I only ordered 4 items, and
Same here.
been, yeah.
This is like, what the heck, peoples?
Yeah.
All right, so one that I almost missed, and which is a re-release. Because I almost ran by it. So Beyond the Door, no, not the $95 one, because that is the old special edition release. So now they've got it on standard edition, because Arrow does that. They do release the limited edition, and it's gone in 60 seconds. But if it's popular enough, they'll do a re-release on a standard edition that kind of hangs around.
Have they gone in 60 seconds? It seems like it'd be up their alley.
That's a good question. But I've seen Beyond the Door. I almost left it for Jacob because I really was not all that interested in it. I know.
Oh, yeah, that cover art was so lovely.
Yeah, it speaks to you, doesn't it?
Exactly.
It is a supernatural horror with some detective elements, almost a giallo type, but not quite.
Ugh.
And it's not as bad. It's not as bad visually. It's kind of boring, actually, in a lot of ways. I did not like Beyond the Door, but maybe I should check it out again.
Dane's telling you got to pre-order it.
Yeah, well, no. He's talking about the My Bloody Valentine thing.
Oh, yeah, never mind.
Yeah. You shouldn't have to. The reason why this is a standard edition is so you don't have to pre-order it. So for me, I'm keeping it in the collection because it does have some importance when you're talking about the horror community. So it would definitely keep in the middle for me. Like a curious for me. Where would you put it?
Where would I put it? Well, when I'm always first in line for anything in the Giallo group. If it is a pivotal release and it's less gory than is typical for the genre, I could maybe go meh.
It's more plot than substance, I guess.
Then I'll go meh.
All right. There we are. Okay. Your go.
My go. Okay, we have got one called Cicada Song. Another high-scoring one on IMDb, let me tell you. 4.1 on 166 views. Well, reviewers, you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Karen, left for dead in the wilderness, struggles to survive after uncovering a dark secret and the people in her Middle America hometown while searching for her missing Latina lover and a migrant child who disappeared without a trace. I have to admit that I really could consider this one I would want to see. I don't feel compelled.
Well, that's why I left it
but I could definitely say curious.
So I'm surprised Karen didn't decide to just go to the manager.
Yeah.
That's a little curious for me as well there. So I'm definitely not paying any of the new price for it, like the $21 or $17.99. No. It's not even rated high enough for me to think about that. So the next one I've got on here is Death.
What was your rating on that?
I was also at curious, low curious.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
So Death of Me is one that I know that you're going to really want. I mean, you can see that cover. It just looks like it's right up your alley.
It looks so good.
True love takes sacrifice, after all. Let's see here. Where is the... Oh, that's cool. Little Nas X. Interesting.
Another one with a crappy-ass rating on IMDb.
So what does the summary say, Jacob? Since you got IMDb up there. Since
you couldn't find it?
They didn't write it on Amazon.
Okay. A vacationing couple must discover the mystery behind a strange video that shows one of them killing the other. And it does star baby Thor, so that's interesting.
It's not a terrible premise. It looks like it's very intriguing. I don't know if I'd be paying any $17 for it, but still, it's curious for me.
And it does have some very cute young ladies in there. Let's see here. The cover really does turn me off.
It's like that scene in Evil Dead.
Without any more information than what I have to go on, I'm not even sure I can go meh. But I don't know if I really want to go hell no. I'm right on the border there. So what the hell? I'll say hell no.
All right, let's get it rounded to a meh.
There we go.
So I think is your next one Desolation?
It is. Desolation Center. So Desolation Center, this is another one of those documentaries we were talking about.
Documentary.
IMDb says the story of a group of 1980s punk artists who started organizing and playing desert shows that later inspired Burning Man, Coachella, and Lollapalooza. So, again, I'm sure, given your particular musical leanings, this was definitely up your alley. But you might even know some of these people. I don't know most of them, I have to admit.
Well, I mean, you know Sonic Youth.
I said most of them. And actually, I'm looking at the cast list. Where's the list of the bands?
I'm just looking at the bands on the cover. We've got Minutemen, I know them. Savage Republic, they're pretty good. Sonic Youth, Swans.
I've heard stuff by Meat Puppets. I actually like what I heard. Survival.
I've heard a good portion of these bands.
Cool.
So,
and I love a good concert doc. This one does have a high IMDb rating, but only 71 people have rated it.
Hard to
take that with a grain of salt, but
those people who actually saw it liked it, but not many of them saw it.
I think this one's definitely a high curious for me, if nothing else.
Yeah, I can go with that. I mean, let's see. On Amazon, you can get it for $16.59. That's an odd price point.
That is,
but only on DVD.
Might be a sale. And apparently, I have to go let someone in, so I'll be right back.
Okay, that's my turn anyway. All right. The Devil Has a Name. All right. Excuse me. So let's take a look at this bad boy. Devil Has a Name. Widowed, broke, and adrift, farmer Fred Stern finds a new purpose in life when he learns that a multinational oil company has been polluting his water. But as his crusade against the powers that be spills out of the courtroom and into his personal life, Fred must find a way to avoid the ruin of his farm, his family, and his dreams. Inspired by bizarre true events, The Devil Has a Name pulls back a curtain on a cultural greed that poisons corporate America. Well, and from sea to polluted sea. That's interesting. I can see where Jake would want to have seen this movie.
Indeed.
So yeah, I'm surprised you didn't try and grab this one right away. I don't know why.
Really?
Does the look of the cover, the way that they spelled like the devil on there, I swear there was another movie that used that same almost imagery where it looks very similar with the white and you got the devil in red and the kind of text. I just can't think of the name of the movie.
Wasn't that The Devil Wears Prada?
No, not Devil Wears Prada, but
I don't know.
Something.
I am fascinated by the idea that this was directed by Edward James Olmos. And how many things has he directed, actually?
Well,
this is his third film as a director. Okay, so he's had some TV credits as well. And I know that the film stars Olmos and David Strathairn, Kate Bosworth, Alfred Molina. Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't pick this one up. Haley Joel Osment. I'm surprised I didn't pick this one up too. But it has gotten middling ratings, and it looks like the kind of movie that I might appreciate what they're going for, but it might be a film that with more finesse would have been, well, it would have given it a better audience from what I'm reading, you know. But whatever.
I mean, yeah, definitely a high curious for me.
It's very much a high curious for me, at the very least.
So there we are.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Is it my turn?
Yes.
All right. Curiouser and curiouser. We are now at, and of course I clicked on the wrong one, apparently, because it's very, 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 very freaking confusing to try to look up the movie versus the TV show.
Exactly.
But Jack Webb is well known as the showrunner and star of a little old series called Dragnet. And apparently he directed a film that is a spin-off, I guess, from the show.
Just the fact.
And Webb, of course... Yes, Webb, of course, played Sergeant Joe Friday, and you got Ben Alexander as Frank Smith. You know, was that the character Tom Hanks played? I can't remember.
I cannot remember. I don't even know if the character that
Joe
Tom
Friday
Hanks played
was the Dan Aykroyd character.
Yeah,
what?
Actually, no, it would have been the one that Tom Hanks replaced. Because they kind of replaced the old one. His old partner kind of left and retired.
Oh, right.
And so yeah, I really love the one with Tom Hanks and.
That's a classic film. I have to admit, I've never seen the show.
I have. They used to show it on Nick at Night a lot, and you know, again, it's very dry. But you like those type of
right.
you know, cop procedural shows, so you might be up your alley.
And I always heard that this one was more like that, like an actual procedural drama with maybe some comedic elements, whereas the one with Aykroyd and Hanks was a comedy. It was a very dry comedy. I mean, yeah.
Well, there were some outright hilarious moments in that one, though.
There were. But, I mean, Aykroyd was very much playing the straight arrow. But anyway, yeah, so I'm curious. This movie is getting, I guess, a re-release. First Blu-ray, maybe? Or is it a re-release on Blu-ray? I don't know. But...
Yeah. Well, so curious, or...
I'm definitely curious about this one, yes.
All right, so moving on to the Donut Man.
Ooh, is it the Donut Man or the Donut King?
Oh, is it Donut King? Yeah, Donut King, yes.
Okay, title alone is great on that one.
You know... So this one's kind of cool. It's about this guy, and I read about it before I actually went in on it. It's about this guy who comes to the country and opens up a donut shop, which eventually becomes extremely famous as he builds his donut empire. And it's a pretty cool documentary. I really liked it as far as what it portrayed. I'm a sucker for those types of things. And it's just kind of cool. Like, I mean, Cambodian refugee eventually founds a multi-million-dollar, baking industry here. It really is the true American dream, which in some cases could be considered lost out by many. But in here you definitely can see it at work. And it's even on sale right now for $11.97.
Oh, nice.
So, it's there. I don't have money for it right now, but it would definitely be up there. It's a very high curious for me. What about you?
It's a very high rating, 8.6 on IMDb, but that's off of 33 votes.
Those 33 people really liked it.
they were clearly donut fans. But yes, I want to see this. I am very, very curious about this.
All right. So what's your next one? Something of the Republic?
My Ghosts of the Republic. This is a film from, it is U.S., but it's English and French language. Also a documentary. Few of those this week. Ghosts of the Republic follows Aurélien and Nicolas, who, when confronted by France's conservative surrogacy laws, decide to exhaust their last option by traveling to Las Vegas to start a family of their own through surrogacy. This film demonstrates the extreme lengths many gay couples go to have children, highlighting the ever-expanding and controversial surrogacy industry. I looked at this when we were making our initial picks, and I was like, no, that could be interesting. It doesn't leap off the page as one I have to see, but it could be an interesting one. So I'll say curious.
Okay. So this next one, and I'm going to go with curious.
You're not saying any of your ratings aloud. Do you realize that?
Yeah, I'm not thinking. I'm moving quickly. But yes, curious on my end as well.
Okay.
So this next one, I'm going to have to go to the Amazon page because they tell all the movies on it.
Is this the big one?
Yeah, this is a huge one. Hammer Films Ultimate Collection. I've had my eye on this for a while, so now the time is finally here. And it is a priority, so I'm starting out with my rating because, okay, we all know the Universal monsters, correct?
Right.
Hammer is really the next grouping using these monster tales and their own take on them. They are a classic right there. These are classics right up there with them. They were the next step of these types of monsters. So getting
Snorkel?
all these 20 in there is just amazing. You've got Revenge of Frankenstein, Two Faces of Dr. Jekyll, Curse of the Mummy. These Are the Damned, The Old Dark House, The Gorgon, The Snorkel, yes, Maniac, Die, Die, My Darling, Scream of Fear, Stop Me Before I Kill, Never Take Candy from a Stranger, Cash on Demand, Stranglers of Bombay, The Terror of the Tongs, The Pirates of Blood River, The Sword of Sherwood Forest, The Camp on Blood Island, Yesterday's Enemy, and Creatures That the World Forgot. Now, there are other ones that they did. They did a lot of other monster films, which are also in there as well, but not in this set, but in some other sets. I think that really this is one that should be picked up. It's a bit of a high price point for those who are not huge horror fans, so I'm willing to acknowledge that.
Amazon's got it on sale, $40 off. So no, $30 off. Sorry.
So it's still a pretty decent, price point for what it is, but you're getting a pretty good deal for a Blu-ray. I am a little bit. Mill Creek always has me a little bit leery because usually their stuff comes across as very cheap.
Right.
But still, I mean, you want some good films where you get some of the first real acting chops of Some amazing people. Gosh, what is his name? He was Saruman. God.
Christopher Lee?
Yeah.
Oh.
Christopher Lee was on some of these. So, this is why it's worthwhile. Definitely. To me, it's a priority. I know you're not going to be going priority on this one, but...
No. Yeah, I won't be able to go priority on this. And to be honest, partly the high price point, but also partly the fact that it is a Mill Creek release. I'm not even sure I could go yes, please on that, but I would definitely say it's a high curious.
Okay, well, that gets rounded to a yes, please.
Right,
so,
right.
That's pretty cool. All right, your go.
My go. Okay, so what is my go? The Goddess of Fortune, or rather the original was La Dea Fortuna. I think this is it's an Italian release. When Anna Maria, a longtime friend of Alessandro and Arturo, asked the couple to take care of her children, the relationship between the two men reaches a point of no return. This is co-written by and directed by Ferzan Ozpetek, and it's got a whole bunch of actors I'm not really all that familiar with, honestly. I like me a good Italian film. This looks like it might be a good Italian film. It's got a middling IMDb rating, but I've seen worse. Quite a few worse tonight, actually. And, yeah, I'm going to say curious.
It's at $24.99 at Walmart.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
And you're in? Yeah.
I'm a low curious.
Okay.
I don't have much to say about that.
I'm trying to navigate Blu-ray. I need to practice this. You've got a much better Blu-ray. I can't even speak. Never mind. Them's hard sayings.
Oh boy! So this next one is called the Inner Sanctum Mysteries, and I'll just bring up the Best Buy page for it. You can see it here. This nice one here with Lon Chaney Jr., which does get my interest up for it.
Right.
But there's no overview for it here, so I'm going to have to go... Oh, it's a series of films. No wonder. So let me see if I can get them on Amazon, because at least on Amazon they will list all the films. Inner Sanctum Mystery. There you go.
No, they've got a listing at the very top of the page.
Maybe it just didn't load for me. There we go. Oh, that's pretty good right there. So let's see here. We got Calling Dr. Death, Weird Woman, Dead Man's Eyes, The Frozen Ghost, Strange Confession, A Pillow of Death.
I like that last title.
Lon Chaney Jr. is pretty awesome, and this is a pretty good-looking set. They want to advertise it. You don't see spreads like this on Amazon for like regular stuff. And a 42, that's not too terrible when you're thinking about like you're getting 6 films out of it. That's not too bad, and they're probably very well restored. Yeah.
Wow, Pillow of Death has a 6.1 rating.
So not bad, really.
Yeah.
And it's got Lloyd Bridges also.
Really?
So another excellent individual.
Yep.
My lungs were bursting for air. Yes.
Yeah.
But still, I miss Lloyd Bridges. I loved him in the Hot Shot movies and younger work as well. But those are the ones that I always think of whenever I think of Lloyd Bridges. So with that, it's definitely a high cure. Actually, no, it's a low yes please for me because I really need more Lon Chaney Jr. in my life and Lloyd Bridges' earlier works. So yeah, probably a yes please for me.
I'm sorely tempted to go with... I'm sorely tempted to go with that. I might say low yes, please.
It's mainly the actors involved, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, those are classic actors. I mean, actually, I want to get some Lon Chaney Sr. as well, but...
No, it's mainly Pillow of Death.
You want Pillow of Death. It's a deadly pillow. All right. Maybe it's related to Deathbed.
Oh, God. Okay, so it's mine go, is it?
Yep.
Okay, I believe the next one up is a little film that I have known about for many years. It's been on my radar, but it never really got very much notice from me. It's a re-release of a 90s film called Grace of My Heart, written and directed by Allison Anders. And IMDb describes an aspiring singer, Denise Waverly / Edna Buxton, sacrifices her own singing career to write hit songs that launch the careers of other singers. And so it's sort of like a biopic of I don't think this is an actual singer, is it? Well, anyway, Ileana Douglas is the main star of the film. You've also got Christina Pickles, John Turturro, and Richard Schiff, and some other good folks in there. Of course, Turturro is awesome. Check out our discussion on Barton Fink, which we had very recently, and it's good times. I am curious about this. Like I said, I never prioritized watching it, but I would definitely get it if the price is right. So I was curious.
I'm on a little curious myself for that one. I don't really have much to say about that. But that's why I made sure that you had it.
See.
One that I do have stuff to say about is It's a Wonderful Life, which this is not the very first time it's being released on 4K. As you can see the previous versions right here for $12.99. But there's another version being released for $27.99 in case you really want that, which doesn't have any more special features. So I'm not exactly sure what you're paying for other than the nice little red package. But still, you get your 4K, your Blu-ray, and your digital. And a vintage poster. That's what you're paying the extra for, is the vintage poster.
Yeah, you know it.
So most people know this Capra masterpiece here. Oh, it's a steelbook too. Okay, well I can see
really?
it now. So yes, because you can see now. I mean, when you see this picture here, you can see what I see. I think, right? That's definitely a steelbook.
What am I looking at?
It should be projected on the screen, is it not?
Nope.
Oh, well, let me fix that for you. I've been thinking this whole time I've been sharing my screen for you.
Nope, you haven't.
Well, now I am.
Okay.
Now you can see, and you can see over here. See, doesn't that look like a steelbook?
Yeah, that it does indeed, and that is a nice looking. It's a nice looking collection.
It is. So maybe it's worth it. I mean, if you really like it, it's a good film. It's very solid. Most of Capra's work, it can be considered a little bit sappy, but they're very good, very well acted.
Right.
He's known how to get a good performance out of Jimmy Stewart, and he does it, and they do a pretty good job. I really want a really solid 4K Capra collection to come out.
Right.
I would love to see that, because like a full-on Capra collection with It's a Wonderful Life, Mr. Deeds comes to town, goes to Washington, washes his dog, whatever.
Well, hell, the one that I already have would be a great one for him to do to see a 4K release of. That one does have some of those. I can't remember the full movie listing. You got me curious now.
So this one's definitely on my yes please, almost a priority, but one, I have it, but two, even if I didn't have it, I'm not sure I would spring for a 4K steelbook when I could get an older version of the 4K for cheaper.
Right.
So it's probably just a yes please for me. But what about you?
It's definitely a yes please, yeah. And incidentally, the collection that I was thinking of is Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. It happened one night. You Can't Take It With You, Mr. Deeds Goes to Town, American Madness, and Frank Capra's American Dream.
But isn't that a DVD one?
Yeah, that's a DVD only. That's what I'm saying. If that got a 4K upgrade with the addition of It's a Wonderful Life,
I'd love to see that. Yeah, I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
So what's up next?
So next up, we have an Italian opera by Giuseppe Verdi. It's called Il Trovatore. And it's staged by Franco Zeffirelli. That's kind of cool. That's some high voltage directing there. So this is one of those many opera productions that you've dug up somehow is to be put out for fans of opera. It does look like something that if you're a fan of opera, it would be awesome to pick up some of these to have, especially something directed by Zeffirelli. That'd be a nice production to have. Price point's higher than I'd be willing to put into it, but I'm definitely curious. I would pick this up if it was like, $10.
You know, it's weird. They always have those just like a couple days after release.
Yeah.
They have these opera ones that always seem to stick at the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I always hand them over to you.
Yeah.
So where did you put that on the ratings list?
Curious.
Actually, because it's a Verdi opera, I will go with Curious myself, which that's an unusual. I'm usually like, no.
I'm usually not going to go no, but I'm usually more on the meh.
I'm moving more on the meh.
Yeah, so you go, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, what you got?
So let's see. There is a film, and I love the title. I mean, I love the picture on this. It's called Light Years.
Yeah, it was kind of weird looking.
And that's the one right there. This title looks like a little dog on it. Let me see if I can get it on Blu-ray.com. Blu-ray. Because Blu-ray.com has it up on their thing. And I think they might have... Yeah, there we go. It looks sort of like a dog-ish. Maybe a bear?
I originally thought bear, but now I see dog. I think that might be right.
Such a cool cover. That's got my interest just for the cover. $16.99 though, not that much. 30-something man goes on an annual cosmic vision quest to visit a dead friend, but a stick gets stuck in the spokes of his psychedelia, and in every face, friends and family alike, his own looks back at him. Boy, that's awkward writing. But all but his dead friend. So basically, he's doing a really kind of screwed up vision quest. Hence the weird looking dog with the baseball cap on. So it looks like a nice kind of fun psychedelic romp. It's something I would definitely put as curious. Not anything else though. What's your take?
Low curious.
I mean, if you saw this like for $10 in a store.
I don't know about 10. I would definitely pick it up at the Dollar Tree. That's a given, but I don't know. You never know. Next up is one where $10 might be too steep as well, but it does have my curiosity up. And that is a film whose original title apparently is Tegna Pechati Dracona, being released as Iron Mask, and it's apparently is this a straight up Chinese release or is a Chinese American Russian co-production? Interestingly enough, and it apparently is connected to the film Forbidden Kingdom. Did you ever see that?
I have, but it's been so many years.
Yeah, I'm feeling like, okay, I thought I had seen it, but I'm really not so sure I did.
I mean, that cast, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jason Fleming, Jackie Chan.
Yeah, Jason Fleming reprises his role from Forbidden Kingdom, but you do have Jackie Chan and Arnold Schwarzenegger, the late Rutger Hauer in there. Charles Dance. I mean, that's a hell of a cast. Supposedly, it's an example of Schwarzenegger and Chan getting higher billing than they really should have gotten, which is unfortunate. And the film does have a middling IMDb rating, but with that cast, it's definitely a curiosity, if nothing else.
Indeed.
So I'm going to go curious.
Yeah, the cast alone is enough to make me curious. Alright, so let's see here. I did Light Years. I guess I'll throw out this monster film.
Throw it out.
Monstrum.
Oh, that one.
Blu-ray. Apparently it's also a sniper scope.
Apparently.
So, it kind of looks like a little bit like Godzilla there, doesn't he? More like Shin Godzilla, though, like mixed with the dogs from Ghostbusters. It's a Shudder original, which is somewhat a good thing. Release Hell House Incorporated 3. Let's see here. A plague has taken over and fear runs rampant in the streets. When rumors of a vicious monster roaming Mount Inwangsan begin to spread, fear turns into panic. In order to quell the rising hysteria, the king brings his most trusted general out of retirement. Okay. So
it's a Korean film.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
So it's a thing. And
it's a thing.
And I'm curious, but not more than that.
Well, it stars or co-stars one of the stars of Parasite. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And
so would that be enough?
Actually, what's that?
Would that be enough to rise it from the hell no to mad territory to a curious?
Well, I don't really honestly know how to rate this one. I really don't know. I'm going to go with meh without more information, but it could go higher.
All right.
Okay. So, next up, oh wait, I already did that one. Did I get rid of something else? Let me see.
I'm guessing it was.
No, I didn't. Okay, so next up, should you choose to accept it,
dun, 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 dun,
is a new release of the TV series Mission Impossible.
I gotta find
And not a bad looking collection, actually. See, I told you it's hard to find. I went to Blu-ray.com for this one.
Yeah.
It's they've got a list price here of $106 on Amazon. I couldn't find it on Amazon.
There we go.
Anyway, you did?
There it is on Amazon.
Oh, well, I couldn't find it. Anyway,
there's that picture.
That does look like a pretty nice set. I don't think this is the first time. Well, I know it's not the first time we've had a complete set, but I think this might be the first time in Blu-ray, isn't it?
Yeah, and
it's a 46 disc set.
I will say, if you are loving the Tom Cruise ones, expect this to be a lot more lower key. Because this one's a lot more like, basically, they saw James Bond and decided to make an American version.
Yeah, sounds about right. But, well, I say that, but I honestly can't recall that I ever saw the original series. But it is, nonetheless, a classic series in many ways, if only because it's on the Tom Cruise series. And I'd have to rate it as a yes, please.
Oh yeah, it's a big one there. For me, it's more of a high curious, because again, I'm not sure I need it in my life, but it's definitely up there. But it's James Bond. I mean, not James Bond. Turn it. It's Mission Impossible.
You would be able, though, to have it on the shelf to point out to everyone and say,
"Everybody, I'm never watching that."
Well, maybe after I watch Dark Shadows, I'll start.
Say, hey, look at that one. There's another one I'm never going to watch or get to. Oh, now, one that I have looked at, and I've got this actually pre-ordered, because I don't know how long this is going to be in print, which is The Orange Years, a Nickelodeon story. Now, this is
a documentary?
Yeah, it's a documentary about Nickelodeon. Matter of fact, it's I learned about it because What Movie One has had helped a little bit in there, and I have been very curious about this one to the point where I just wanted it so I can have it. I don't know when this is going to how long this is going to hold out on physical, because I don't know whether it's going to be a limited printing or not, and I really don't want this to go out of print before I get a copy. I know you didn't get raised on Nickelodeon like I did, but as a child that was a big thing for me, Nickelodeon. So it's kind of just the nostalgia factor throws it up to a priority for me. So that's where that is on mine.
Well, for me, no, I don't have that nostalgia potential there. But I do know that quite a large percentage of my generation did grow up on Nickelodeon. And so it could be worthy, a valuable viewing regardless. You know what I mean? So it would, and also for people who are not of our generation who might wonder at things. So I can't really go yes, please on that one necessarily, but it's very high curious.
Okay, well, and that goes to yes, please, because I have it as a priority for me. So that's twice that's happened. Yay! So you get one next that's pretty high priority for you, probably.
So, after several years of development hell...
Oh yeah, I forgot. It's hard to find on Amazon. I gotta find it elsewhere.
Several years, during which time there was a merger between studios and rewrites and reshoots and all kinds of stuff. We're finally getting a home video release of a movie that finally hit theaters, 3 weeks ago? 4 weeks ago? And that is the Marvel-inspired series, The New Mutant movie, The New Mutants, which, from the word go, I was excited to see Anya Taylor-Joy as Illyana Rasputin, one of my all-time favorite Marvel characters. You've also got Maisie Williams as Rain Sinclair, Charlie Heaton as Sam Guthrie, Alice Braga as Dr. Ray. We don't care about her. Blue Hunt as Danielle Moonstar, and Henry Zaga as Roberta da Costa. Fans of Marvel will obviously know them as Magic, Wolfsbane, Cannonball, Moonstar, and Sunspot. And, well, Marilyn Manson has a voice acting credit in that. Interesting. They basically decided, the geniuses at Fox, who did so well with all the other Marvel properties, decided, let's take one of these X-Men titles and make a straight-up horror movie based on it. And they rethought that decision so many times since then. And then Disney took over and didn't know what the heck to do with this property. I don't know what the heck to expect at this point, but I still will see it. Even if it's like the train wreck syndrome. I have to see this movie. I just really dread what I'm going to end up seeing. But I hope. I have hope.
See,
that it might be all right.
and to me, the New Mutants means a lot comic book wise.
Right.
I identified a lot more with them than I did with Gen X, which was actually theoretically that one was the one that was supposed to appeal to me because it came out when I was a teenager. But they appealed more to me than the Gen Xers did. I didn't mind Generation X, don't get me wrong, but it was But again, it was my that one was closer to me mentally. And I followed that team all the way from New Mutants and all the way to X-Force, where it ends, and their re-release and all that stuff. And I've got a majority of those comic book releases.
Mm-hmm.
And much like the Dark Tower,
Mm-hmm.
I am very hesitant.
Mm-hmm.
You understand.
Oh, yes, I understand fully. I saw the Dark Tower.
So I still have it sitting on my shelf and have yet to be brave enough to watch it. So what did you rate it?
Didn't I say?
No.
Well, since...
Are you going to get this right away at $24.99?
No, definitely not. Based on my... Well, based on everything I said, I'm not even sure I can go yes, please. It is yes, please, in terms of the priority for viewing.
Yeah.
But in terms of the priority for getting it, I'm going to say curious.
See, for me, it's a yes, please, but that's only because I'm collecting all of these comic book movies, and this is technically part of the Fox
Okay,
X-Men
you have a
grouping.
point there. I will get it eventually, even if I only get it for $4. It will happen. So, yeah, go ahead and say yes, please.
It will be mine. Oh, yes. Yeah. Maybe a couple years from now,
I
but it will be mine.
I will say this. The director, Josh Boone, did write and direct, he did direct The Fault in Our Stars, which was a truly excellent film. And he directed the current remake or upcoming remake of Stephen King's The Stand, which I had not looked into this, but I'm looking at this cast and I'm going, holy crap, I want to watch this. And I'm hoping that it's good. But that bodes well, I think.
All right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is it Nomad? No. That's
Talking about your Stephen King adaptations there.
There we go. That Nomad. All right. Here you are. Your turn.
Okay. I'm sorry. I think the next one up is that opera one, isn't it?
I've got here as a Nomad.
No, Nomad. Oh, sorry. Nomad, The Footsteps of Bruce Chatwin. It's a film by Werner Herzog. And he is a very well-known and acclaimed documentarian. This is a documentary / biopic about Bruce Chatwin, who is a travel writer, the author of In Patagonia and so forth, and a champion of the nomadic life. That's really all there is about it. Herzog, his reputation precedes him. I want to see this just because... And again, I like a good documentary. This is probably a good documentary. So it's a high curious for me to go up to yes, please, if it does get an Oscar nod.
Yeah, definitely curious for me. I felt this one was up your alley when I originally was looking at it. But definitely, it's something I would definitely be curious about enough to watch it. Speaking of stuff that maybe I'm curious enough to watch... Pay Dirt. I'm not really all that curious enough to watch it either, though it does have Val Kilmer in it. A parolee teams up with his old crew determined to find a buried bag of cash stolen a decade ago from a DEA bust gone bad. Yeah, well, again... I'm sorry, I feel like this has been rehashed so much. I can't even give it a curious for me. Even with Val Kilmer, I can't give it a curious. It's a meh. It's like
I would say anything with latter-day Val Kilmer is almost the definition of a curiosity. But other than that, I don't have much interest in this one either. I'll go. I'll go ahead and say curious, but it's a very low curious.
So that one gets dragged down to a meh. All right, I'm dragging one down for once.
All right. So,
see my enthusiasm for it.
What's that?
You saw my enthusiasm for it.
Oh, and you're going to be super enthused about this one too, I'm sure. This one's called Operas from the Open House Zurich. And if I'm reading this correctly, it's these four ones. I Capulette e Montecchi, Woset, Werther, and Das Land des Lakens. Probably butchered some of those. But it's a collection of 4 opera productions from the Zurich Opera House. $52 price point, so I know you're going to rush out and grab that one. Again, I'm kind of curious, but given the price point and the likelihood that I would actually be able to get this on the cheap, I'm going to have to go meh.
Yeah, I'm a meh on that one, actually, myself. And they were very lazy on the cover art, too.
Oh, yeah, that's a boring-ass cover.
Hey, we got some anime that we can talk about. A little bit of animu.
Animu?
Yep.
I love animu.
So we got some Pokemon action here. So Pokemon.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Let's see here. Mewtwo. There we go.
Right.
Strikes Back
Mewtwo.
Evolution. So Ash, Misty, Brock, and several other Pokemon trainers travel to an island under the pretense that they'll be battling superior Pokemon trainer, only to discover the genetically engineered Pokemon Mewtwo, created by the scientists for Giovanni, a team of Team Rocket, is there and is planning to take over the world. You want to know something sad? I have seen this.
Yeah.
I have actually seen this film.
Right. Wait, genetically engineered and he plans to take over the world?
So, essentially, this is a remake of the original Pokemon movie.
Right.
You can see the computer animation, all that stuff on it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a terrible film. It was...
this was in our rundown of last year's movies, wasn't it?
It wasn't a bad one. It was okay. And I did watch it, and it's, like I said, it's an update on the original, which I don't have any nostalgia for, which is going to lower my rating, which people are going to be upset because they do have nostalgia for Pokemon. Sorry, dudes. I haven't even beaten a Pokemon game, much less... had played one when I was younger. So to me, it's just a curious. I might get it at a low price point, but I'm not going to go out for it.
Well, as I have said before, and I'll be straight up, my nostalgia for Pokemon is almost entirely limited to when I was in college and we would play Smash Brothers and I would play Pikachu and I would kick ass. So there is definitely some nostalgia there. And I did enjoy the live-action film that came out last year, but it wasn't great. I just enjoyed it. This one, I would give it... I have no particular interest in collecting the Pokemon, but I would accept them into the collection. So that's kind of the definition of a meh, I believe.
Yeah. So that gets dragged down. This next one that's coming up kind of reminds me of the Turnbridge trilogy, to tell you the truth.
Potentially. I don't really know that it would be quite the same, but this is called the Prairie Trilogy. John Hansen and Rob Nilsson, co-directors of Cannes Camera d'Or winner Northern Lights and fellow members of San Francisco's Cine Manifest Film Collective, collaborated on this remarkable series of documentaries underwritten by the North Dakota Humanities Council and the North Dakota AFL-CIO. In Prairie Fire, 97-year-old ex-organizer and poet Henry Martinson recounts the 1916 birth of the Socialist Nonpartisan League, also the subject of Northern Lights. His narrative accompanied by images shot by Nilsson's old grandfather, Fridtjof Holmboe. Apologies if I got that off. Rebel Earth finds Martinson accompanied by a younger farmer visiting the scenes of his life, seeking out the spot of his Divide County homestead. Survivor, finished the year before Martinson's death, focuses on the biography of its subject, found in a funny and expansive mood. A gorgeously shot work of documentary as historical corrective, which finds hope for the future through excavating a radical past. That does have shades of Tunbridge to it, doesn't it? And the runtime on Amazon says an hour 48. Is that for all three?
That could be.
Oh, those would be short films.
It really is hard to say for these types of things.
And it's cheap, too. That is not a high price for that.
No, not a high price point.
Yeah, so I'm definitely curious about that. If, like I said, I enjoy a good documentary, and that Tunbridge description makes me very curious.
I could definitely go with the Tunbridge trilogy type thing on it.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely on their turn. So let's see. My next one is going to be an odd one.
An odd one.
Let's see here. It's called Psycho Magic.
Oh yeah, this is from that Spanish director, isn't it?
Healing Art.
Yes.
So,
Alejandro Jodorowsky, I think it was.
Let's see. I got a review here. Why don't I go ahead and read this review of our movie here. So 5 stars. So this movie is an entertaining ride from one psycho magical act to the next. It'll inspire some people to act and others to cringe. Definitely recommended, having seen or read some of Jodorowsky, which we covered a collection of his being released.
Yeah, we did.
Work before. Viewing because the process of creating psycho magic acts could have been delved into more for a few viewers who may not be familiar with the specific symbols. This sounds complex and cumbersome, but at the same time interesting at the same point. I gotta get into that stuff by that director. I just haven't yet.
The cover reminds me of Monty Python.
Yeah, looks like a Curious for me.
I'll go. It's a low Curious, but I'll go with that.
Okay. I'm trying to move quicker.
Yeah. Now, something that may inspire cringe is a supposed historical epic starring John Wayne. But so Rio Grande, 1950 film, a cavalry officer posted on the Rio Grande is confronted with murderous raiding Apaches, a son who's a risk-taking recruit, and his wife from whom he has been separated for many years. And it stars, in addition to Wayne, Maureen O'Hara, which I believe the two of them co-starred in The Quiet Man, which was actually quite a good one. You got Ben Johnson, Harry Carey Jr., Chill Wills, Grant Withers, Sons of the Pioneers have a small role in there. It's an interesting cast. It's a John Ford film, so that bodes well for it. And I believe this is considered to be part of a trilogy. I'm not super familiar with all of those different films, but it is one that I will have to see one of these days. It is a high-profile Western. I have never been an extraordinary John Wayne fan. I do appreciate the work of Wayne and John Ford, definitely, and I'll give it a go. I'm probably going to rate this a high Curious.
I'm a low Curious on it. This is more Dave's thing than mine, but
yeah,
it's one that feels like I would definitely, if I saw a decent price, I'd probably pick it up, but not $27.99 to be sure. Now, one I might pick up for $27.99, probably not, is a Blu-ray called Relic, which I said, this obviously looks like one that Jacob wants to cover.
Oh, yeah. So much.
This seemed like it on my end. But when elderly mother Edna inexplicably vanishes, her daughter Kay and granddaughter Sam rush to their family's country home, finding clues of her increasing dementia scattered around the house and are absent. After Edna returns, just as mysteriously as she disappeared, Kay's concern that her mother seems unwilling and unable to say where she's been clashes with Sam's unabashed enthusiasm to have her grandma back.
Didn't we cover something very recently that had almost the same plot?
Taking of Deborah Logan, you're probably thinking about, which this one seems like something similar, so who knows? It might be interesting. It's IFC.
Yeah.
It's definitely a horror thing. It got me curious, if anything.
I do enjoy a good, more haunting type movie. This one does say it's rated in part for disturbing imagery, and that is usually not something I'm a fan of. Emily Mortimer is pretty cool. I'm not going to go hell no on this, but with the limited info I have, I'm going to say meh.
Yeah, definitely on that. So down it goes.
Okay, so next up we have another big set. We've had a couple big sets this week. This is one that's slightly different. Another Mill Creek set. This is called Rita Hayworth Ultimate Collection, even though supposedly it doesn't have most of her Ultimate films on it. But apparently the listing is as follows. Music in My Heart, You'll Never Get Rich, Tonight and Every Night, Down to Earth, The Lady from Shanghai, The Loves of Carmen, Affair in Trinidad, Salome, Miss Sadie Thompson, Fire Down Below, Pal Joey, and They Came to Cordura. So it pretty much covers the 40s and 50s, so from 1940 to 1959. And I do need to see more Rita Hayworth films. She was basically one of the stars of her time. And, of course, the original title of The Shawshank Redemption was Rita Hayworth in The Shawshank Redemption. Mm-hmm. You know, she does play a pivotal role in the film somehow. I do feel like I need this for background, if nothing else. But it's not something that I would be first in line to get. So I will say, at the very least, a high curious.
I would go with curious for myself, though I do like Fire Down Below. Wait, no, wrong one.
Yeah, that's a different one, probably.
But any case, it's one that I'm curious about. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Yeah, I just don't think I could go above curious for it right now.
Right.
Maybe later on I'll be like, yeah.
Right. I mean, if I get a really good price on that, I would probably jump on it. But I would have to get a really good price. Yeah. But with Mill Creek, you never really know. I mean.
So, we got another one that I know you're going to be, like, super psyched over.
It is a cool-looking set, I'll give you that.
It is a cool-looking set. So we got this Resident Evil collection, which is a 4K collection, got all the movies. I've already got them all in a smaller collection that is the size of one Blu-ray, you know.
Right.
So I really don't want to expand like that. But it is darned cool looking. I gotta give it that.
Right.
And the Mila Jovovich ones are real trashy fun. They're not great movies by any stretch of the imagination, but they are fun action horror romps. And they really go from, I don't know if you've seen any past the first one. The first one's closer to a horror film, but after the first one, it just becomes kind of action horror. A lot less horror action elements and more of just butt-kicking action. And to where they don't even have a scary bit at all towards the end. I haven't seen the very last film, but I've seen all the rest, and I do need to just do a marathon of them. Have you seen any of them?
Of the Resident Evil?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, I probably saw the first one. I don't really remember beyond that.
So, with me, I couldn't make it a priority, or even if I didn't have it, because I'm not willing to pay top dollar for something that's not widely released. So, but it would definitely be a yes, please, because they would be on my wish list otherwise. So it would be a yes, please for me.
I'll go curious.
All right, that gets knocked on down to curious.
Okay.
All right, so you get a nice one there.
I got Summerland. So IMDb says, during World War II, an English woman opens her heart to an evacuee after initially resolving to be rid of him in this moving journey of womanhood, love, and friendship. Written and directed by Jessica Swale, stars Gemma Arterton, also co-stars Gugu Mbatha-Raw, Tom Courtenay, Penelope Wilton. Not a bad cast there. Looks decent. It looks like one in many World War II films that will probably get lost in the shuffle of history, but would probably be worth a view. I'll go with curious.
It's morphed down your alley than mine on that, so I made sure you had it. But I mean, it's not one I would ignore necessarily. I'm okay with it. I don't know. I'm gonna put it as an
Oscar nod. I'll bump it up, but I'll go curious for now.
Yeah, it could get an Oscar nod, so I guess I'll put a curious on it. It's a very low curious for me, because it might get one. I'll have to put it there. So my next one is a film called Runaways. No, not that one.
Oh, jerks.
So let's
actually
see.
Not that one.
Not that one either. Oh, come on. Where are you?
Yeah, I saw that earlier. It was actually hard to find. It was weird.
I have to go on Blu-ray.com again for it. Isn't it amazing how some... Oh, no, there it is.
There you go.
All right. So I just had to find it as a Blu-ray. It looks like more of a coming-of-age type thing, but I'm looking at here as like an English coastal town. Runs the local donkey rides with his free children. He shuts down for the winter. Let's see here. Their uncle turns from prison and is collecting debts. And when the guy finally passes away, children are left to cope with themselves. And the two donkeys. I don't know. It looks like it might be interesting. I don't know. I'd pick it up cheap.
Yeah.
I wouldn't pay $17 for it, but I'd probably pick it up cheap. I'm
curious.
Yeah, I'm a little curious.
Okay.
All right, you're up.
All right. So I think the next one up is Ulysses, which is an old film, 1954, directed by Mario Camerini.
There we go.
And co-starring Kirk Douglas, Silvana Mangano, Anthony Quinn, and some other folks. I have to admit, Douglas and Quinn alone make me at least very curious about this one.
It's one of those.
What happened?
It's one of those movies.
It's one of those movies. A swords and sandals epic from back in the day. A movie adaptation of Homer's second epic that talks about Ulysses' efforts to return to his home after 10 years of war. I am willing to lay down good money that this will be nowhere near as entertaining as Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? But it looks like a more faithful adaptation of...
That's John Goodman right there.
Yeah.
See, there he is.
Yeah. Where are you looking at here?
It's over here with the Cyclops in the background.
Well, he did play the Cyclops, yeah. It is one that I do want to see. I feel like I should get to it eventually. It's not one that I'm going to rush to get. So I can definitely go curious.
All right. Awesomeness. So yeah, I'm on that page with you about curious.
Cool.
The thing is, like World War II today, these sandals type epics were all over the place back in those days.
Right, back in the day, that was everything.
They were just like, boom, let's throw one like that out there. Let's do an anime.
Ooh, an anime.
So Seis Manos. Seis Manos is a Netflix show, and some of these are getting releases, which makes me mad that I can't get a release for Agretzko or My Little Witch Academia, but we can get one for Seis Manos.
Seis Manos.
So, orphans raised by martial arts master plunged into a mystery involving demonic powers, drug cartels, and ancient rituals. Yeah. And blood sacrifices, Of
course.
For kids.
Yes, for kids.
This is the first 8 episodes, It looks okay. It looks almost American animated more than Japanese animated.
Well, if it's a Netflix production, it probably is largely American.
So, you got the directors, the names, Right. I think that, I don't know. I got no interest in this, actually. I'd say it's a meh for me. I'd pick it up if it was really, really cheap, like at the dollar store or someone gave it to me.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I could pay a little more than $1.
So, and then it gets lowered, but
that's a high praise indeed, right?
I'd buy that for $1.
Exactly. All right. So, speaking of films I'd buy for $1, next up we have a film called Unhinged. As they say on the cover, he can happen to anyone.
Do we miss Sleeping Beauty?
Did I miss it? I'm following my list. Oh, I did miss it. I'll come back to that.
Okay, Unhinged then.
Yes, so Unhinged is a film after a confrontation with an unstable man at an intersection, a woman becomes the target of his rage. And so it's like a road rage film where Russell Crowe, and as soon as I read that description, I started hearing in my brain, fighting around the world.
Oh, boy. There it goes.
And so I'm sure you had the same reaction.
I'll look it up on Amazon. It's just a bunch of, detached Blu-ray drives.
Right. You've also got the woman in this is Karen Pistorius. Ooh, she's cute. She's South African. And I know her from something. I'm trying to remember what it was. She was in Denial, The Light Between Oceans, Slow West. Okay, so she's been in some stuff I've seen. Slow West was a good one that we really need to cover one of these days. But anyway, so Russell Crowe and Karen Pistorius, from what I understand, this is a movie that you would probably hate, because it sounds like the plot premise is essentially the same plot. Basically, the plot is apparently the exact same as the Coen Brothers segment from Paris Je T'aime, but with the sexes inverted, and it's a full-length film instead of a short.
Ooh, joy, oh
yeah.
Joy.
And instead of a young Parisian couple beating up on Steve Buscemi, you have an enormous Russell Crowe beating up on a small woman. Yeah, that just sounds lovely on so many levels.
So at the same time, there is a part of me that would probably still think, fighting around the world. Take that.
Yes. And I have to, and of course, if you have that clip, but I'd have to rate this as curious, but it's like, again, like a train wreck curious. I don't know that I really, really, really want to see it or have it, but it does stoke the interest.
With your glowing recommendation of that short, I'm down to hell no, which would put this to a man.
Yes.
All right. So, speaking of fun stuff, let's talk about silent running.
Okay.
Let's see. I think it's silent running or silent runnings. Silent running. Yeah. It's silent running, so that we can run silently. But it's not that edition. It's this edition. There you go. Much nicer looking Arrow edition there. That's kind of pretty right there.
That is kind of nice. Arrow does nice looking sets. That is true.
You got a visual effects pioneer, Douglas Trumbull, which did some cool stuff. I mean, Close Encounters Third Kind, The Andromeda Strain, contributed groundbreaking special photographic effects of Stanley Kubrick's 2001, Not So Distant Future, Earth is Barren of all flora and fauna, unfortunately, with what remains of the planet's former ecosystem preserved aboard a fleet of greenhouses orbiting in space. When the crews are ordered to destroy the remaining species, one botanist, Freeman Lowell, rebels and flees towards Saturn in a desperate bid to preserve his own little piece of Earth. That plot really does intrigue me. Yeah. And the visuals intrigue me. I'm very curious.
Yes, I am very curious too, especially Bruce Stern and Ron Rifkin. I mean, that's a pretty intriguing cast there. And it's an Arrow release. That cripples it, unfortunately, without knowing if it's an American release or not, because we don't usually get that info. Well, you can find out, I guess.
Let's see. Says 1 hour and 4. It does not.
It doesn't say, does it? It does not say.
It doesn't look like it looks like an American release because it doesn't have the UK like rating symbol on it. Because you usually
that's not well, that's true. That's often the case. So assuming it's an American release, I would almost go yes, please, but without that certainty, I'll go with curious.
Hold on. I don't know.
Come on.
Yep, so there we go. All right, so with that, it's your turn.
Is it my turn?
Yeah, and I put this as a curious because I said curious. All right, moving on.
Okay, curious or incurious. So we have a, I don't have a window up for it. That's probably why I forgot. Sleeping Beauty is, I believe, what's that?
Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah, so that is, I do believe, another opera production.
Yep, there you go.
Tchaikovsky. Ooh, that's kind of fun.
Huh? $41.99. Jesus.
What?
$41.99.
Oh yeah, that's lots of fun. Teatro alla Scala, I guess is that one. So we have, well, it's Tchaikovsky, so you know it's awesome. Although I guess that's probably, that's probably not so much an opera as a ballet. And I do have to admit, my interest decreases dramatically when it goes from opera to ballet. I would get this in a heartbeat if I could get it for $5, but I would not go out of my way.
Almost like $41 that.
Low curious.
Yeah, I'm actually curious mainly because it's Tchaikovsky, so the music's gonna be rocking, but I don't know about the rest of it.
Yeah, I mean you could sleep soundly to good music if nothing else.
Well, another one that I am not exactly hyped on, but one I'm sure that you will be. So Sweet. So dead.
It sounds lovely.
Sounds like right up your alley, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
This sounds like
I
something
saw
Mo
that
would.
cover.
This sounds like
What's
something
that?
Mo would rate on his show. For $20, it's definitely going to be dead to me for a while. A naked woman is found murdered and mutilated, always good way to start, in a prosperous small province town of southern Italy. But who killed her and why? Inspector Capuana, let's see here, investigates what turns out to be a string of savage murders, which in unfaithful women are targeted. That's kind of cool. I mean, the guy who's playing the inspector was in Rope. That's kind of cool. Strangers on a Train. So, you know, it's got some interesting stuff in it. Might be intriguing. More of a murder mystery than a horror. So, I would say more of a curious for me.
Yeah, again, this is considered early Giallo, so it always makes me wonder. But, you know, Farley Granger's well known. You've got some, you've got some potential there. I'll give that a meh.
All right, you know? There we go.
Yeah.
You're up.
So, next up, we actually have something that I originally saw the title and I thought, oh, dear. And then I looked at it and I was like, ooh. And this is called We Are Little Zombies, or We Are Little Zombies. 4 Japanese orphans form a rock band. That's all it says on IMDb. Just that right there, that sounds really fun. But then I come down here and I see that the glorious and lovely Rinko Kikuchi is in the cast, and that right there, that seals it for me. I will seek this film out. Honestly, even though it doesn't really look a lot like it, something about that cover art and just something about this, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Kamikaze Girls, and that was such a wonderful find. I keep wondering if maybe that would be a good one to, maybe a possible repeat or something. But I do want to see this. It looks fun.
So it says here, when 4 young orphans meet their parents' bodies are being turned into dust, like fine Parmesan atop a plate of spaghetti bolognese, and yet none of them can shed a tear. They are like zombies, devoid of all emotion, with no family, no future, no dreams, and no way to move forward. The young teens decide that the first level of this new existence involves salvaging a gaming console, an old electric bass, and a charred wok from their former homes, just enough to start a band and then conquer the world. That's better than IMDb is right there. Like fine Parmesan, indeed. So where are you ranking this?
That's a yes, please.
You know what? I have to put this on my wish list. So yeah, I can go with that. I can agree with you on that one.
All right.
All right. So let's talk about social distance, which we should talk about a lot these days.
Indeed. Okay.
So there we go. Slow slide into insanity as a group distance workers discover their work from home is part of a dark and deceptive conspiracy meant to dwindle the numbers of the middle class. Interesting. So let's see. Nope, he ran off. All right, well, I think it looks interesting here. I mean, you got this dude here. He looks like he's definitely seen better days. His head's over here. He's just one of those numbers, that you have with the social distancing thing. So maybe, just maybe, this could be a curious for me. But
I was a little bit curious about it, so we'll go with that.
All right. Well, you're back in time to go to your next one.
All right. Sorry about that. I keep getting interruptions tonight. But
you don't even have to talk much about this one. You've talked about this one in the past.
What is the next? Oh, next up we have Weathering with You.
Again.
Classic film from Makoto Shinkai. Yes, again, this is a 4K release, and this is the collector's edition 4K release. Nice looking set. If I had known about this prior to pre-ordering the Steelbook, I might have gone for this one. But to be honest, that is a very high price point for a single film, even if it is a collector's edition. I will probably upgrade if I can get this for $40, but I'm probably not going to pay more than that. But if you haven't already gotten the film, what's wrong with you?
I mean,
but if you haven't get this version, you will probably like it.
So I take it that's a priority for you if you didn't have it.
I did pre-order the film. So since you've said before that the priority doesn't have to do with the edition, then I'll say high priority.
I can go with that too, because I would have pre-ordered it if this was the only version.
You did pre-order a different version, didn't you?
I pre-ordered the same one you got. I got the Steelbook.
Okay.
So yeah, there it is.
There we go.
And we move on.
And we'll move on.
If we hadn't covered that one many times already, I would have stayed with it a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've done this twice now, haven't we? They came. They do a lot with that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then came you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's March 12th. That's not the one. Then came you. I think it's a DVD release. Yep, it is. It is. So let's see. Who would have something there? I guess Target.
Really?
Right.
I did not know that. That's both intriguing and a huge knock against the film.
Craig Ferguson, Katie Lee Gifford, and Elizabeth Hurley. Suddenly widowed Annabelle Wilson makes a sudden decision to sell her home and travel the world. On the first stop, she meets Lord Howard Odd, the weathered inn-owner of the castle she's residing in for the week. As time progresses, Annabelle and Howard find themselves drawn to one another, coming closer as they share secrets they've never told anyone else. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever it is. It looks okay. It looks delightful. $13.99. It's not too bad. DVD only. Too bad. So sad. Curious.
I like Craig Ferguson, and I'm fascinated by this. Written by Kathy Lee Gifford, not just starring her, but written by her, and directed by novelist Adriana Trigiani. This is, I think, her second film as a director, and she adapted her first film, Big Stone Gap, her book, Big Stone Gap, to very little praise. I'm curious, but it's not one that I have high hopes for. Looks like a Hallmark film.
Yeah.
I'm going to say curious.
Looks like a dime store version of Eat, Pray, Love.
Sort of, yeah.
So, your turn. Oh, Westworld.
Okay. And no offense to fans of Adriana Trigiani, by the way. I do need to read some of those books. Actually, I think Big Stone Gap, if I remember correctly, is very close to your neck of the woods. So, next up, we have the third season release of a series that I am very, very, very intrigued by, that I own the first two seasons. So that'll tell you something right there about my rating for this one.
Movie's an Oscar winner.
That is the series Westworld. And the co-stars, of course, Evan Rachel Wood, Thandie Newton, Jeffrey Wright, Tessa Thompson, Ed Harris, Tommy Flanagan, Thomas Kretschmann, etc., etc. That is a pretty darn solid cast. based on the relatively solid film from the late 60s. But this show has gotten worlds of acclaim. I think this is coming out in 4K and Blu-ray editions this week.
Actually, and DVD as well.
And DVD, yes.
Matter of fact, the DVD and the Blu-ray have like different covers. There's also a steelbook from Best Buy.
I'm going to leave this up to you, what you think. I will declare right here and now that if I find this for sale for $15 or less this winter, it will be mine. So I think I can call it a high priority, but I do have that hard upper limit to the price.
Well, if you're
but
actively looking,
I got the first two for 10.
I was going to say, if you're actively looking for it, I could see it. I'm going to drag it down regardless, because I'm going to be like, I've been curious about the series, but I'm not like, it's not on my list. It's not on my, it's not on my wish list at all. So yeah, the movie I have because it's an Oscar winner. But this one, like I say, I'm on the curious end, but that would drag it down to a yes, please. So done deal, done data. All right.
Okay.
Truth is the only client. This is another one I figured would be more on your end.
I was curious.
Yep. Yes. Yeah, so Truth is the Only Client. It's a John F. Kennedy doc. And it looks pretty good. Judge Brendan Sheehan tells the story of the investigation of JFK's murder through the interviews of the members of the Warren Commission, staff, experts, and other people personally involved with the events. I am kind of bored by the whole JFK execution. I admit, and maybe it's wrong, it's probably because I was so overexposed to it when I was a child.
I bet that was right up your old man's alley.
Yeah. It's just like that Family Guy where he's like, all right, to the left. And then to the right.
Okay.
Yeah, that where he just repeats it over and over. He's like, yeah, the extended version of JFK.
Yeah.
So, for me, it's a low curious.
Okay. So,
what's your
did I
thought?
say?
Nope.
Oh, I didn't say. Yeah, I think a low curious is as good a way as any to put it.
It's an interesting cover.
Yeah.
All right.
It is that.
Oh.
Next, what?
Okay, go ahead.
Next up, we have a film from 1961 called Les Meravilles de Aladino, or The Wonders of Aladdin. And this is a film that is apparently a French-Italian-American co-production. Interesting. A poor young man finds a magic lamp that possesses a genie who will grant the boy 3 wishes if he sets him free from the lamp. I have never heard of that plot description ever. I have always enjoyed Aladdin as a story, mainly because I grew up with the Disney film and I always liked it. I don't know at this point if an old school version of the story would appeal to me or be more cringeworthy. I really don't know, but I'm willing to give it a look. I'll say curious.
I'm low curious on it. I mean, if anything, the cringe factor is there.
Yeah.
All right, let's see here. Okay, one I'm finally interested in. So, Twins is getting a Shout Select release.
Oh, nice.
The first of, I think there's a trilogy of Schwarzenegger DeVito films. Was this one Junior, and there was another one, and I can't remember what the other one was. And they were a great pair. They really did. They did great comedic timing. Twins was the one that got the most acclaim. I watched this film a ton of times. If I didn't have it already, it would definitely be on my lookout list because it is cool. It's not a bad price point. I loved it. It was hilarious. You've got basically these two people, like Arnold was taken and raised by all these like people, taught all this, and then Danny DeVito was raised basically on the streets and the orphanages because they were twins. They were a genetic experiment in superhumans. Unfortunately, Arnold got all the super genes. But Arnold decided he was going to look up his twin brother, and a bunch of hilarity ensues. It's a wonderful film, one of my favorites. If I did not have this, it would be ordered yesterday. So that's really the definition of a priority. So
I have actually strangely never seen this movie.
You're missing out.
I know that as a viewing wise, I have to say yes, please, because it's a priority one to finally knock out. This could be one you could put up for Movies Galore. But I will, as far as owning it, I will not pay a lot for it, but I like Shout's releases. So I could go yes, please, I think.
All right. Very cool.
Okay. Yeah.
We're almost done.
I don't like Shout's shipping schedule all the time, but anyway. I know everyone's running behind right now. So, To the Woodlands and Beyond. I found out today that someone in our county voted for Buzz Lightyear for president. But anyway, Helene Grimald and Matt Hennick, Woodlands and Beyond.
Good Lord. It's
Ebb Philharmonic, Hamburg.
$30.
So there you go. Yes. Another...
Oh, it's a major release again. Yeah.
What happened?
It's another one by that same company that did the opera one.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out. This doesn't look like... This might be an opera, I think. Or is this a ballet?
I think it's just it looks like just
it's just a performance.
Instrumentals, yeah, performances.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Okay, so even more reason to pay that much money for it.
It's cheaper than the others.
Yeah, like I said, if you want a really expensive but really nice music to go to sleep to, but I'm going to say I have little interest in this without knowing the music very well, I have little interest in it at that price point. I would happily pick it up for $5. So I guess meh.
Yeah, it's a meh for me. If I saw it at the Dollar Tree, I'd grab it. Then I'd sell it.
Yeah.
It would be there.
Right.
So let's see. Val X Love.
Uh-huh.
So let's go ahead to this. Come on.
Section 23 release, I believe.
And, let's see here.
Fun cover.
Sentai. And Takuma Akutsu is not an attractive guy. In fact, his hulking size and ugly face have earned him the nickname Demon, which is ironic since all he really wants is to be left alone. But, who never pays attention to what people want? The king of the gods, Odin, who decides that Takuma is one person who can save the earth from complete destruction. Very nice. Any case...
Yeah, if you saw Son of the Mask, you know Odin is a complete dick.
Oh, he is a very complete dick.
So this basically looks to me like just your typical ecchi hentai. I mean, not hentai, harem series.
Low curious for me, and that's saying, like, at best.
I have to, as with most Sentai ones, if there's nothing overwhelming for or against it, it is curious, because I'll probably get it one day for like $8.
Like, if it was like something like a horror, like gushy horror.
Right.
Maybe, but yeah.
So, we're ending with a pair of high-quality films, although one of them is dramatically overrated, and one of them I never have seen. I need to.
So what
Criterion has What happened?
Which you want to start with? I know you have an order.
Well,
you usually
I was
do.
about to say,
Yeah.
Criterion has a pair of films coming out this week. The first of which is Norman Jewison's Oscar-winning Moonstruck, 1987 film starring Cher and Nicolas Cage. So you know that other 1987 film with Nicolas Cage, and we need a Criterion release of Raising Arizona, damn it. But Moonstruck was a good film. I did enjoy it. I do think Raising Arizona and The Princess Bride were both much, 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 much better films than this one was. But it's an enjoyable film. I do think it's well worth getting the Criterion release. I think I have it on DVD, but I think it's a bare bones release.
Yeah.
So I'll probably eventually upgrade it. It's not one that I'm going to rush out and get because I think I already have it. But it does have some decent special features, which is always nice. And it's exciting to see it come out, I guess.
It is.
So
yeah.
I would give this one a, because it's an Oscar winner, it's definitely a priority.
It's a priority for me. I can't get. Well, it's not a priority. It's a.
I mean, well, I said
yes,
please is what I meant.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a yes, please for me, mainly because I'm okay with the DVD version until I've watched it. Then I might change my mind. Right. But I don't know if I need it on Criterion. You need all of them on Criterion, so
I do. Yes.
So it takes a different.
Well, most of them. There increasingly are ones I doubt, but.
So let's see here. I'm down to my last two. So, Waxworks.
Ooh,
not that Waxworks.
No.
So let me see if I've got this right. Yep, there it is.
Yep. Flicker Alley.
Yeah, this one is a bit different. It's an older version. Not like the horror movie.
What is that? Das Waxfiguren Cabinet.
Woohoo!
Something like that.
Final film of Paul Lenny, directed in Germany before striking out in Hollywood.
Oh.
Late example of German expressionism. So I know that Dane will be all over this.
Probably.
Stylized sets of costumes and such. The 3 episodes of Waxworks are united by the character of a young poet who is hired by the owner of a wax museum to create backstories for a trio of museum figures. So, interesting. And it's $53. I'm glad there are multiple films with that then. So it is the Dush Kinematic in cooperation with... Okay, well, it's that stuff. If you can read this, definitely do. I would expect that. And it looks fun. I would get this if I had more money.
Yeah.
But as it is, it's just a high curious for me.
I'll go curious.
All right.
Okay, my last one is a Jim Jarmusch film. And Jim Jarmusch, increasingly, I'm starting to think he is an intriguing director. In a lot of ways. And this is a film that was on a list that came out a while back that was pretty interesting. That was the best films you've never seen. And it's called Ghost Dog, The Way of the Samurai. Stars Forrest Whitaker. And it's got some good bonus features. And this is a film that ever since I saw that list, it's been on my to-watch list. And I just never got around to it for some reason. I don't know why. But now I have no excuse not to, other than time and lack thereof. But I'm going to give this one priority because I will be buying this during the current sale. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
I saw it over there. I just, not yet. Maybe next
They had it already?
Yeah. I've seen it already over there when I was over there.
Oh, wow.
They might have stocked it early, but it was over at the mall one. I was not, but I'm not, it's on my list eventually. So I would say a low yes, please for me.
Huh. Okay.
So I guess
So hard to get that elusive priority ranking.
we got one. It's the one that deserves it.
It does.
So my last one is one that has piqued my curiosity,
Yeah.
called Words on Bathroom Walls, which
Yes.
normally I wouldn't, because this looks more like just an artsy romance film when you look at this, like between young kids apparently. But there was one over here is like, and again, let me see if I can find a better one. Let me first show the price point real quick before I start off with this. $20. So let's see here. Words on Bathroom Walls.
Interesting cast.
So, diagnosed with mental illness halfway through his senior year in high school, a witty, introspective teen struggles to keep it a secret while falling in love with a brilliant classmate who inspires him to not be defined by his condition. I have to check it out. I mean, the one who really, really praised it said that they felt it was better than A Beautiful Mind. I have yet to see it, so I will not pass that judgment. But it has gone beyond curious to me to a yes, please, just because it is on my wish list now.
Right. Well, you got, like I said, a good cast there. You got Anna Sophia Robb, Andy Garcia, Walton Goggins. I'm going to go high curious.
Okay.
Yeah.
Done deal. So that's it for this time. Let's see here. So we've got ourselves a decent set of peoples here. And one major one. We got a lot of yes pleases and a whole bunch of curiouses as normal, and a number of mehs.
Yeah. So good times.
So with that being said, I hope you all have enjoyed this. Click that like and subscribe, and of course, have a good day.
Bye.